Welcome to Bedcrime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend so far. Hey, do me a favor, please hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel on YouTube. The 911 call came in at 10:01 a.m. Two children, 6-year-old Lilly and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan, were missing from their home in Pictou County, Nova Scotia. It was Friday, May 2nd of 2025, and they were living on their so-called stepfather's property. His name is Daniel Martell. On May 8th, 6 days later, a neighbor shared a tip with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The tip was about strange activity at Lilly and Jack's mobile home throughout the night before the children were reported missing. The neighbor described hearing a vehicle come and go from the mobile home throughout the night from midnight up until 5 a.m. The reason the neighbor heard this is because he or she was up working on a vehicle in their yard. They said they heard the same loud 5-speed car come and go from the trailer about 6 times. After the neighbor learned that the kids were missing, they realized this could be important information. The neighbor's name is not being released because there are concerns about safety. I suspect Pictou County is an insular place where neighbors tend to keep to themselves, and they don't like to get involved in other neighbors' business. And that could explain why this person waited 6 days before reporting this information. So if this tip is true, then whose vehicle was driving to and from the trailer 5 to 6 times on Thursday night into Friday morning? And why was this strange movement taking place? We know that Daniel Martell's vehicle wasn't drivable at this point. It needed repairs and Daniel couldn't afford them, so that vehicle was out of commission. Malea's vehicle, however, was running, a white Nissan SUV. It had been purchased with the help of Malea's maternal grandmother. Now, a 5-speed car is a vehicle with a manual or automatic transmission that has 5 forward gear ratios. At least that's what ChatGPT says. It can be a manual 5-speed or an automatic 5-speed. 5-speed manuals used to be the standard for many cars from the 1980s to the early 2000s. But today, most vehicles have 6 or more gears. Who knew? Probably a lot of you. As for Malea's Nissan SUV, if it is a 5-speed, then it has to be older than a 2019. I say that because the Nissan Xterra was last offered in a 5-speed manual in 2015. If it's a Nissan Pathfinder, then it would have to be from the early 2000s. If it's a Nissan Frontier, which is basically a pickup, but it's sort of SUV-like, it can't be older than a 2019. Oh, excuse me, it can't be newer than a 2019. My bad. Now, did you catch all that? I'm just wondering whose vehicle was driving back and forth. I know it can't be Daniel's. I'm not sure exactly what type of Nissan Malaya has or what year it is. And I don't know what type of vehicle Janie McKenzie drives or Daniel's brother Justin. So was it Malaya's Nissan that was busy all night, Thursday into Friday morning? Maybe. If so, who was driving? Was it Daniel so that Malaya could care for baby Meadow? Was it Malaya? If so, was Daniel aware? Was Daniel's mother, Janie McKenzie, aware? I'm thinking if the neighbor could hear all of this, then the 3 people that were sleeping on the property that night, or maybe not sleeping, must have all heard it. Now, why haven't Daniel and Malaya, or even Janie, mentioned this activity? Were they trying to keep it on the down low, a secret? And if so, why? Is this how Lilly and Jack disappeared from the Martell property? And if so, where were they taken? And were they alive or deceased at the time? And I hate even saying that because look at the faces of these kids, these precious, beautiful babies. I can't understand how anybody could hurt that little boy and that little girl. Seeing the black eye is just, it really makes my heart sink and hurt. So how far did this vehicle drive before returning to the mobile home if it was between midnight and 5 a.m. and they maybe did 5 to 6 of these turnarounds? Leave the trailer, go somewhere, come back, leave the trailer, go somewhere, come back, etc. I'm thinking that maybe this person could have driven 30 minutes out each time and then 30 minutes back. So that would be a journey taken 5 times. If you look at the map, there are so many lakes within 30 minutes of the Martell property. And some might be even closer, some a little farther. There's Lansdowne Lake, Jenny Gordon Lake, Perch Lake, Dryden Lake, Smiles Lake. Clearly, there's an abundance of lakes. Unfortunately, according to the Nova Scotia Abandoned Mine Openings database, there are more than 8,500 mine openings, which include mine shafts in the province. And in Pictou County alone, where Lilly and Jack lived, there are 392 abandoned mine openings. And I do believe the RCMP are looking into those. Now, the reporter for the Globe and the Mail out of Canada, Lindsay Jones, published another article today about this case. She said when she first arrived on the property, the Martell property, Daniel Martell was there in the driveway to greet her. Lindsay said that Daniel was preoccupied with Malaya having left him and left the property at that time. This was just a couple days after the kids were reported missing. And Daniel told Lindsay this of Malaya. He said, quote, "She's going to try to blame everything on me, but she doesn't get in trouble," end quote. I wonder if he meant to say she's going to try to blame everything on me so that she doesn't get into trouble, but doesn't make sense there. Daniel does have a unique way of speaking. The reporter was very much struck by this statement because she was like, what is there to be blamed for? She found it very strange. At that point, there was no talk of anybody getting blamed. At that point, people were still searching the woods. Many people still had hope that the children would be found alive. When she asked him what would there be blame for, he said, I don't know. Lindsay Jones, the reporter, also said that as her questions to Daniel as the days went by became more focused on the kids' home life, things like drugs, controlling behavior, potential abuse, financial struggles, Daniel Martell stopped taking their calls and stopped answering their messages. This is a pattern with Daniel. He only answers the questions that he wants to answer. And if you ask him something that he doesn't want to answer, not only doesn't he answer it, but he basically just ignores the fact that you asked him a question. It's like he didn't see it. And of course, Malaya did one interview, very brief, in front of the cameras early on, and since then she's just gone MIA. She doesn't take calls. She hasn't pled for Lilly and Jack's safe return. Of course, none of this bodes well. I'm telling you, the news of this vehicle doing all those trips back and forth, I believe it. I think it's the tip that's going to get the case solved. This car traveling 6 times that night, Thursday night into Friday morning, is really disturbing. I think it's the tip that's going to get the case solved. And what's really alarming is that, of course, Daniel and Malaya and Janie, none of them have mentioned this activity. Did they think that nobody out there in that rural area would have heard this? I mean, the homes seem to be pretty far apart, but you never know who's lurking in the woods nearby working on a car. Sometimes I think it's hard for us to believe that somebody like a Daniel, Martell, and Malaya would face cameras and lie to our faces with such confidence. But we've seen this before. Orrin and Orson Welles, Chris Watts. Think of the desperation you would feel if you were in a situation like that and you did not want to go to prison for the rest of your life. I think you'd summon all of your faculties to do whatever it took to try and convince people that you were honest and that you didn't do anything wrong, and you would try to sell what a great parent you were or are. And Daniel grew up on this property. His family has been there for years. His father lives nearby. These people know every lake, every body of water, I'm sure. They know every mine opening, every mine shaft nearby, every spot where you could bury something. I heard Pictou County described, I think it was in the first article that Lindsay wrote, as being similar to Appalachia. This is a region full of poverty. There's only about 100 residents. Poor Lilly and Jack didn't have adequate winter clothing, according to somebody at the school that they went to. You can see the bruise on Jack's face there on the left side. There's no excuse for touching these kids or any other kids. That's all I can say. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories, let me know what you think of this case, where you think the kids are, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.